The rain started before the ceremony. I remember watching it hit the windows. My mother said, "It's just a sign, Clara. Stay calm." I nodded, but my hands shook. The white dress felt heavy. My heart beat fast. "Ben will come," I whispered to myself. "He loves me." The guests waited. The music played soft and slow. My father stood beside me, his face pale. "Are you ready, Clara?" he asked. "I think so," I said. "But where is he?" "He'll come," he said, though his voice broke a little. Minutes passed. Then more. The whispering started in the back pews. I heard my aunt say, "Maybe he changed his mind." My stomach twisted. I looked at the church doors. They stayed closed. My best friend Lucy ran to me. "Clara," she whispered, "Ben's carriage isn't outside." "What?" I said, my breath catching. "He's not here," she said. The music stopped. The air turned still. My mother's face turned cold. "I told you," she said softly. "You trusted a dreamer." "Don't say that," I said. My voice cracked. "He promised. Promises break," she said. Stand up straight. I couldn't. My knees felt weak. I looked around and everyone was watching me, waiting for my next move. Lucy touched my arm. "Let's go outside," she whispered. I nodded. We stepped out into the rain. It hit my veil, turning it heavy with water. I looked at the muddy path. My heart felt numb. "He's gone," I said. "He left me." Lucy said nothing. She held my hand tight. The wind blew hard, tearing my veil. It flew away across the churchyard. I watched it fall into the mud. Something in me broke with it. "Clara," Lucy said softly, "let's get you home." "Home?" I laughed, bitter and small. "I can't go home." "Not like this. My father will take you," she said. "No," I said. "I can't face them." The rain ran down my face like tears. "I waited for him," I whispered. I believed him. Lucy tried to speak, but I stepped away. "I need to think," I said. I walked down the road, my dress dragging in the mud. I passed people staring from windows. I didn't care. My shoes were soaked. My heart felt hollow. When I reached the train station, the sky was almost dark. The man at the counter looked surprised. "Miss, where to?" he asked. "Anywhere," I said. My voice was low. "Just anywhere." He gave me a ticket. "Last train tonight," he said. I nodded. I had no plan, no place. Only the suitcase Ben bought me. Inside were letters, a comb, and my dreams. I sat by the window. The rain tapped against the glass. I saw my reflection, pale, broken, lost. A woman across from me looked at my dress. "Wedding day?" she asked kindly. I nodded. "Was supposed to be," I said. "Oh dear," she whispered. "He didn't show." I looked down. "No," I said. "He didn't." She shook her head. "Some men don't deserve soft hearts." Her words cut deep. "Maybe," I said. But I gave mine anyway. The train started to move. My chest ached. I pressed my hand against the window. The church, the town, the life I knew, they all faded into the dark. I thought of my mother's eyes, cold and full of shame. I thought of Ben's smile, how sure he looked when he said, "I'll never leave you." He lied. I closed my eyes. "Maybe this is the end," I whispered. But deep down a voice said, "No, Clara, this is the beginning." I didn't know where the train would take me. I didn't care. The night outside was wide and endless. The torn veil, the broken promise, the empty ring finger, they were all pieces of the same truth. Sometimes love leaves you standing in the rain. But sometimes it also pushes you to find who you really are. As the train rolled into the dark, I held my suitcase close and said to myself, "I'll start again. I have to." And for the first time that night, I believed it. The rain kept falling. The roof above me dripped again and again. I sat on the cold bench holding my small bag close. The station was almost empty. Only the sound of the rain and the train wheels in the distance. I rubbed my hands for warmth and looked at the clock. It was late. Too late for anyone to come. Cold evening, isn't it? A soft voice said. I turned. An old woman in a gray coat stood near me. Her face was lined but kind. She smiled gently. "Sometimes," she said, "God breaks your heart to open your eyes." I didn't know what to say. Her words went deep inside me. I gave a small smile and nodded. "Maybe you're right," I whispered. She looked at me with knowing eyes. "You waiting for someone, dear?" "I was," I said quietly. "But not anymore," she sighed. Then maybe you're waiting for something else. Her smile warmed me more than the old heater nearby. Before I could ask her name, the sound of the train came closer. Steam filled the air. The woman slowly walked away, her umbrella tapping on the wet floor. When the train stopped, a man stepped out. He was tall, tired, and carried a small bag in one hand. 2 little children slept beside him, one on each arm. The boy's head rested on his shoulder. The girl's hand held his coat tightly. The man's eyes met mine. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He walked toward me. "Excuse me," he said softly. "Do you know if there's a place to rest nearby?" "Maybe the inn down the street," I said. "It's not far." "Thank you," he replied, adjusting the boy in his arms. "I'm Samuel Hayes." "Clara Gray," I said, standing up. "It's nice to meet you," he smiled faintly. "It's nice to meet you too, Miss Gray." The children stirred. The girl opened her sleepy eyes. "Papa," she murmured. "Are we home?" "Not yet, Lily," he said gently. "Soon," I smiled at her. "You have lovely children." "Thank you," he said, his eyes softening. "They're all I have." The words made my chest ache. "It's hard traveling with kids," I said. He nodded. "It is. Their mother passed last winter." I looked down. "I'm sorry." He gave a slow breath. "Life doesn't wait, does it?" "We just keep moving." "Yes," I said quietly. "Even when we don't know where to go." He looked around the empty station. "Are you waiting for someone?" "Not anymore," I said again. "I thought I was, but maybe I was waiting for something different." He nodded slowly. "Maybe that's what we all do." The rain got heavier. Water rolled down the windows. The lights flickered above us. Samuel placed his coat over the children's shoulders. "They'll catch cold," I said. "They always do," he said with a tired smile. "But they're strong." I looked at the girl's small hand. "She reminds me of my little sister." "Do you have family nearby?" he asked. "Not anymore," I said. "Everyone's gone now. It's just me." He looked at me with quiet understanding. "Maybe not for long." I raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" He smiled slightly. "People cross paths for a reason." "Maybe this rain brought us here." I laughed softly. "That sounds like something the old woman said." "What woman?" he asked. "There was a woman here," I said, looking around. "She spoke to me just before you came." He frowned. I didn't see anyone. I looked out into the rain, but the platform was empty. The wind carried only the sound of the rails and the rain. "Maybe she was never really here," I said, half smiling. "Maybe she was an angel," he said lightly. "Maybe," I said, feeling warmth rise in my chest. He looked at the children. "We should go before the rain gets worse." I nodded. "Let me walk with you to the inn." "You sure?" he asked. "It's cold." "I don't mind," I said. "It's better than sitting alone." We walked together under the weak yellow lights. The rain hit our coats and puddles formed under our boots. The children slept soundly. When we reached the end of the platform, he turned to me. "Clara," he said softly. "Thank you." "For what?" "For being kind," he said. "It's rare these days." I looked into his tired eyes. "Kindness keeps us alive," I said, "even when hope feels far away." He smiled, the first real smile I had seen from him. Maybe hope isn't so far now. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But as we stepped into the rain together, something inside me changed. Maybe Mrs. Turner was right. Sometimes God breaks your heart to open your eyes. Come with me. The platform was cold that morning. I held my small bag tight. My heart beat fast. Samuel stood beside me, quiet but strong. The train whistled far away, like a warning or a promise. He looked at me. "You don't have to come," he said softly. "I know," I whispered. My voice shook. "But you asked me to." He smiled a little. "I don't ask for much," he said. "But this matters," I tried to smile back. "Why me, Samuel?" "You don't even know me." He looked at the ground for a moment. "I know enough," he said. "You care. I saw it when you spoke to my twins. You have a mother's heart. My children need that more than I need land or gold." I looked at him, trying to understand. "Your wife? She's gone?" He nodded slowly. "Years ago. She was kind and patient. I thought I'd never see kindness again." His eyes were wet but steady. "Then you came." I didn't know what to say. I felt something in my chest, soft, heavy, new. "You hardly know what I've been through," I said. "You'll tell me when you're ready," he said. The wind blew hard. My hair moved across my face. I brushed it away and looked at the tracks. The train was getting closer now. "I don't belong anywhere," I said. "Maybe that's why I keep moving." Samuel's voice was calm. "Maybe that's why God keeps putting you on trains," he said with a half smile. I laughed a little. "You think God cares about lost women like me?" He nodded. "Especially about them." The train roared closer. Steam filled the air. I could smell the iron and smoke. He touched his hat. "If you come with me," he said, "I can't promise an easy life. I have work, dust, and 2 hungry mouths waiting. But I promise you'll never be alone." My hands trembled. "You don't even know if I can cook," I said, trying to joke. He smiled. "I can cook enough for the both of us. I only need someone who listens when the wind blows too hard." His words stayed in my mind. The train stopped, loud and hissing. People moved fast around us. Men shouting, children crying, wheels rolling. I wanted to run. "I wanted to stay," he said quietly. "Lydia, you can still say no." I looked into his eyes. They were steady, full of warmth and sorrow. "If I say yes," I asked, "what happens then?" "Then we go home," he said. The word home broke something inside me. I hadn't heard it in years without pain. I took a deep breath. "And your twins?" I asked. "They'll love you," he said, but slowly. "Like morning light after rain," I smiled faintly. "You speak like a poet," he chuckled. "No, just a rancher with too much sky in his head." The whistle blew again. The conductor shouted, "Last call!" I looked at my bag, at the small world I carried. Letters, an old scarf, memories that hurt. I looked at Samuel again. "Tell me the truth," I said. "Are you lonely?" He nodded. "Yes, but it's worse knowing my children are too." Something in his honesty made my fear smaller. "Then maybe I can help," I said. "Then come with me," he said. I stepped closer. "Just like that?" "Just like that," he said gently. I hesitated one last time. "And if I can't stay? Then I'll take you back," he said. "But I hope you will." The train hissed again. I felt the ground shake. My heart pounded. I looked once more at the road behind me, the town, the inn, the empty fields, and then at him. "I'm coming," I said. He reached for my hand, not pulling, just waiting. I placed mine in his. It felt warm and right. As we climbed onto the train, I whispered, "I'm scared." "I know," he said. "So am I." The train started to move. The wheels turned faster. The town disappeared behind the smoke. I looked out the window and saw the world change. Golden fields spread wide under the sky. My fear began to fade, replaced by something new. Trust, maybe, or hope. Samuel sat beside me, silent. After a while he said, "Thank you." "For what?" I asked. "For believing there's more ahead than behind." I smiled and leaned my head against the window. "Maybe there is," I said. He nodded. "You'll see. Sometimes leaving is the first kind of faith." I looked at his reflection in the glass. "Then this train is our faith," I whispered. He smiled. "Yes, and it's taking us home." Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, turning the fields bright and alive. I felt my heart lift as the world opened wide. For the first time in years, I didn't look back. When Ethan opened the door, the smell of wood smoke filled my nose. The house was quiet, too quiet. My heart beat fast as I stepped inside. His children looked at me from across the room. Wide eyes, no smiles. "Kids," Ethan said softly. "This is Miss Lydia. She'll stay with us for a while." They didn't answer. The little girl hid behind her brother. My smile felt weak. "Hello," I said, trying to sound kind. "You must be Emma and Jake, right?" Jake nodded slowly. "You're not Mama," he said. His voice cut through me like a knife. "No," I whispered. "I'm not." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Jake," he warned. "It's all right," I said quickly. "He's right." Ethan sighed and walked toward the fireplace. The sound of his boots echoed in the quiet room. I looked around. Wooden walls, soft chairs, a big picture above the mantel. Martha's face. Her eyes watched me from the frame, calm and beautiful. I lowered my gaze. At dinner, I tried to help. The smell of stew filled the kitchen. "Can I chop the onions?" I asked. Emma shook her head. "Papa does that." I smiled again, though it hurt. "Maybe I can wash the dishes then?" She looked at me for a moment. Mama used to sing while she washed. Oh, I said, my throat tight. That sounds nice. Ethan turned to me. You don't have to do everything, Lydia. You're a guest here. Guest. The word stung. I wasn't part of this family. Not yet. Maybe never. I nodded and sat down. Jake stared at his food. Papa, why is she here? Ethan put down his spoon. Because she needed help, and we had room. Jake frowned. Mama said we don't take strangers. Ethan's voice dropped low. That was before, son. Times change. I looked at my hands. My chest felt heavy. I can leave if it makes things easier. I whispered. No, Ethan said. You stay. The fire crackled between us. No one spoke for a long time. After dinner, I offered to clean the table. You don't need to, Ethan said again. I want to, I replied. It helps me think, he nodded once. All right then. As I wiped the table, I saw Martha's picture again. Her smile was gentle, full of peace. I wondered what kind of woman she'd been. Kind, loved, perfect maybe. I felt small beside her memory. When the children went to bed, I stood near the window. The sky outside was full of stars. The ranch looked endless. Fences, golden fields, a quiet wind moving through the grass. I could hear the horses somewhere far off. Ethan came beside me. You did fine today, he said. I shook my head. They don't like me? They will, he said softly. Give them time. I turned to him. And you? Will you ever look at me without thinking of her? He didn't answer right away. His eyes met mine, full of something I couldn't name. Martha was part of me, he said slowly, but she's gone. You don't have to be her. I'm not trying to be, I said. I just don't want to feel like a mistake. You're not, he said. You came here for a reason. I wanted to believe him. But the silence of the house, the picture on the wall, and the children's eyes told me otherwise. Later, I lay in the small room he gave me. The bed was soft, the blanket smelled of hay and smoke. I stared at the ceiling. Every creak in the wood felt like Martha's voice whispering through the walls. I'm not her, I said quietly to the dark. I never will be. A tear slipped down my cheek. I turned on my side and covered my mouth so no one could hear. Maybe I had made another mistake. Maybe I didn't belong anywhere. Outside, the wind blew softly across the fields. The house groaned in its sleep. And I, somewhere between hope and sorrow, closed my eyes and tried to dream of a home that could one day be mine. Miss Clara, Leo said, holding something small in his hand. Look what I found. I wiped my hands on my apron and turned to him. What is it, sweetheart? He opened his palm slowly. Inside was a torn doll. One eye was missing and the fabric was faded. It was Mama's, Leo whispered. I froze. My heart felt heavy, like someone pressed a stone on my chest. Your Mama's? I asked softly. Lily nodded from behind him. Daddy cries when he sees it, she said. Her voice was so quiet, it almost broke. I knelt down to their height. You two kept it safe? Leo shrugged. We hide it under the bed. We don't want it to get lost, I smiled gently. That's very brave. Lily touched the doll's broken arm. Can you fix her, Miss Clara? I looked at the doll, then at her small, hopeful eyes. I can try, they both grinned. Please do, they said together. I took the doll and went to the small sewing table by the window. The sun was warm on my hands. I found an old piece of lace and some thread. As I worked, the twins sat beside me, watching every move. Leo leaned forward. Mama used to sew too. Oh? I asked, smiling. What did she make? Dresses, he said. And she sang when she sewed. I glanced at him. Like this? I hummed softly, just a tune from my own childhood. Lily gasped. That sounds like her. Something inside me melted. Then I'll keep singing, I said. They smiled again, and for the first time, I saw peace on their faces. After a while, Leo whispered, Daddy says we shouldn't talk about Mama too much. I paused, my needle still. Why do you think he says that? Lily looked down. Because it makes him sad, I sighed. Sometimes when people miss someone, they try not to talk about them. But remembering can also help heal the heart. Leo nodded slowly. Like fixing the doll? Yes, I said softly. Just like that. They watched me tie the final knot. The doll looked almost new, still old, still loved, but whole again. Lily hugged it tight. She's better now. I brushed her hair. So are you, maybe? She smiled up at me. I think so. When evening came, I made them warm milk. "Bedtime, my loves," I said. They groaned but climbed under the blanket. "Sing again," Leo said. I sat beside them and began a soft lullaby. My voice was shaky at first, but it grew stronger. The melody filled the small room. Their eyes closed slowly, their hands still holding the doll between them. As I finished the song, I felt a quiet warmth around me. Then I saw Samuel standing at the door. He leaned against the frame, his face half in shadow. His eyes were soft, gentler than I had ever seen them. "You have a gift," he said quietly. I smiled, whispering, "They just needed a song." He nodded. Maybe I did too. My heart skipped. For a moment, the silence between us felt full, not empty. He stepped closer, looking at the sleeping twins. "They haven't slept so peacefully in a long time," I whispered. "They miss her deeply." He nodded again, his jaw tight. "So do I." I wanted to reach out, to comfort him, but I didn't move. "It's okay to remember," I said. "Even if it hurts." He looked at me, his voice low. "How do you know?" "Because remembering is how we keep love alive," I said. His gaze lingered on me for a long moment. Then he whispered, "Thank you, Clara." I swallowed hard. "Good night, Mr. Tanner." He hesitated before turning away. "Good night." When the door closed, I sat still, the soft sound of their breathing filling the room. I looked at the doll in Lily's arms. The stitches weren't perfect, but they held. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like a stranger in this house. Something inside me had changed. Maybe it was the way Leo smiled, or how Samuel's eyes softened when he spoke. Maybe it was the way the doll looked now, broken once, but mended with care. I brushed my hand across the blanket and whispered, "Maybe we're all healing together." The fire crackled softly, and I smiled through quiet tears. Tonight, for the first time, I felt like I belonged. The sun was low when I saw a man ride toward the ranch. My hands froze over the bucket. My heart knew that shadow before my eyes did. "Ben, Lydia," he called, smiling like he owned the world. "Didn't expect to find you playing farmer." Samuel was by the fence, his sleeves rolled up. He turned slowly, eyes steady. "You know this man?" I swallowed. "I used to." Ben swung off his horse and walked closer. His boots crunched on dry dirt. "Used to? You left before our wedding, darling. You ran off with a ranch hand?" "I didn't run," I said softly. I walked away. He laughed, but it was cold. "You always like pretending you're brave." Samuel stepped forward, calm but firm. "That's enough." Ben's eyes moved to Samuel. "And who are you to tell me what's enough?" "I own this ranch," Samuel said. "And she doesn't owe you anything," Ben smirked. "She owes me plenty. I paid for the dress, the preacher, even the ring. You think you can steal her for free?" His words cut like knives. I felt shame rise in my throat, though I knew I didn't deserve it. "I didn't steal her," Samuel said. His voice was deep, quiet, but every word hit hard. "You lost her." Ben looked ready to spit. "She ran. She's mine. I'm not yours," I said, louder this time. My voice shook, but I didn't care. "You wanted to own me, Ben. I just wanted to live." He laughed again, but I saw the twitch in his jaw. "You sound just like your mother, always running from trouble." That name. That tone. I stepped back, trembling. "Don't you talk about her?" "Oh, I'll talk," he said. "You think this ranch life will save you?" "It won't. People like us, we don't get happy endings." Samuel's hand brushed my arm. "You should leave," he told Ben. "Not until I get what's mine," Ben snapped. $50 should cover what she took from me." I stared at him. "You want money?" "I deserve it," he said, spreading his hands. "You wasted my time." Samuel took a step forward. His eyes were like steel. "You owe her peace," he said. Ben blinked. "What did you say?" "You heard me." Samuel's voice was low, steady. "You owe her peace. And that's worth more than $50. For a moment, silence wrapped around us. Even the horses stopped moving. Ben's smirk faltered. "You think you can scare me?" "No," Samuel said. "But you know I could." Ben's jaw worked. His hand twitched toward his coat, but Samuel didn't move. He just stood there, strong, still, ready. I stepped between them. "Ben, go." He looked at me, his eyes small and mean. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said. "But at least the regret will be mine." He spat in the dust, turned, and climbed back onto his horse. "This isn't over," he called. "Then end it yourself," Samuel replied. Ben rode off, his figure shrinking into the setting sun. My knees went weak. Samuel caught my arm before I fell. "You okay?" he asked softly. I nodded, though my chest burned. "He won't stop," I whispered. "He will," Samuel said. "Because you stood up to him." I shook my head. I almost froze again. "If you hadn't—" He touched my shoulder gently. "You spoke." "That was you, not me." His words sank deep. I looked at his face, dusty, tired, kind. "Why did you do that?" "Because no one should have to face their past alone," he said. We stood there as the wind moved through the tall grass. The light turned soft and gold. I took a deep breath. I hate that he made me feel small again. Samuel looked at me. "You're not small, Lydia. He just forgot how strong you are." I almost smiled. "You think I'm strong?" "I know it," he said. "You walked away once. You can walk again if you have to." I looked toward the fading trail Ben had taken. I thought I'd buried that life. "Maybe you just needed to see it right away," Samuel said quietly. The sky turned orange and deep red. I could still feel Ben's shadow, but it no longer owned me. "I guess I needed this," I said. Samuel nodded. Sometimes the past needs to return before it finally leaves. We walked back toward the barn. The air smelled of hay and dust and sunset. I felt lighter, though the ache was still there. At the door, Samuel stopped. "You want to talk about it?" "Not tonight," I said. "Maybe someday." He smiled faintly. "I'll be here." As I watched him walk away, something changed inside me. The fear was still there, but it no longer ruled. I had faced the ghost and survived. For the first time in years, I felt free. The night was quiet when I woke to the smell of smoke. My heart jumped. I ran to the window and saw red light spreading across the sky. "The barn was on fire! Samuel!" I shouted, rushing outside barefoot. He was already there, pulling buckets of water. "Get back, Lydia!" he yelled. "I can help," I said, coughing as the smoke hit my face. He looked at me once, angry but scared. "The twins are inside!" "Go," I froze. "What, inside?" "Yes, go now!" he shouted again. I ran toward the barn. The air was thick and hot. My eyes burned. I pushed the door open, and fire cracked like thunder above me. "Anna, Eli." "I called. We're here." Small voices cried from the corner. I dropped low and crawled through the smoke. My hands trembled as I reached them. "Come to me," I said, pulling them close. "Lydia, I'm scared," Anna cried. "I know, honey." "Hold my hand tight." I turned and saw something move outside, a tall shadow running fast away from the flames. My breath caught. It looked like Ben, but I had no time to think. The roof creaked above us. "Samuel!" I screamed. He appeared in the doorway, face dark with soot. "Give me Eli," he said. I pushed the boy toward him. "Take Anna, too." "No, you come with me," he shouted back. The smoke grew darker. My legs felt weak. I could barely see him. "Go!" I said, coughing hard. "I'm not leaving you." He came back inside, grabbed my arm, and pulled me close. I felt his strength, his fear. We stumbled through the fire together. My eyes watered, my chest burned, and the heat clawed at my skin. When we reached the door, the whole wall collapsed behind us. Outside, the cold air hit my face. Samuel set me down on the ground and ran to pour more water, shouting orders. "Keep back! Get more buckets!" I looked up and saw the flames rise higher, eating the night sky. The twins cried in someone's arms. My heart still raced. Samuel came back breathing hard. His shirt was half burned, his hands black with ash. "You're hurt?" he asked. "I'm fine," I said softly. "You saved us," he shook his head. We saved them together. We sat there in silence, watching the barn fall. The smell of smoke mixed with the cold air. My body trembled, but not just from fear. "I saw someone," I whispered. He turned. "Who?" "I think it was Ben," I said, my voice low. His eyes darkened. "Are you sure?" "I saw his coat." "I know that shape." He ran a hand through his hair. "If he did this—" He stopped, voice heavy. "Why would he?" I asked. "Anger, jealousy, maybe both," Samuel said. "But we'll deal with him tomorrow." I nodded, looking at the ashes glowing in the dark. "The barn's gone," I said quietly. "We'll build again," he said. "We always do." He stood up and helped me to my feet. His hand lingered on mine. You could have died in there, he said. So could you, I replied. He smiled faintly, eyes soft in the firelight. I'd do it again. I looked away, my heart unsteady. Don't say that. It's true, he said simply. I can't lose you too. The words hung between us, heavier than the smoke. I wanted to speak, but the lump in my throat held me still. We stood there, side by side, watching what was left of the barn. The fire slowly faded, leaving only glowing embers. Something had burned away that night. Fear, maybe, or doubt. What was left felt new and raw, like the land after a storm. I looked at him one last time before walking back to the house. The sky was still red, but in my chest something else burned, quiet and strong, something like hope. I sat by the window, the light soft and golden. The ranch was quiet. Only the sound of the wind moved through the fields. I held a piece of paper in my hand. My fingers shook a little. I should have done this long ago, I whispered to myself. The ink on the table looked old, like my memories. I dipped the pen and began to write. Dear girl, I wrote, you once waited for love in a white dress. You thought love would save you. But it broke you first, I paused. My chest felt tight, but my eyes stayed dry. Ethan's voice came from the doorway. You're writing again? I turned. He leaned against the frame, hat in hand, his eyes soft. It's not for anyone, I said. Just for me. He stepped closer. Then it must be important. I smiled a little. Maybe it's a letter to the girl I used to be. He didn't speak, just watched me for a while. The air between us was warm and calm. I looked back at the page. You were not weak, I wrote. You only love deeply. You hope too much, but that's not a sin. Ethan came near the table and looked at the letter. You're telling her the truth, he said. Yes, I whispered. She never heard it before. He touched my shoulder gently. You've come far, Lydia, I nodded. It doesn't feel that way sometimes. He sat across from me. I've seen you fix fences, heal horses, help people. That's strength, I laughed softly. It's easier to mend wood than hearts. But you did, he said. You mended yours. I set the pen down. Maybe. Or maybe I just learned to live with the cracks. He smiled. Cracks let the light in. His words stayed in my mind. I looked at him, his steady eyes, his calm voice. He wasn't the man I had once dreamed of, but he was real. And he stayed. I looked down at the paper again. I forgive you, I wrote. For crying too long, for holding on too tight, for believing that love means losing yourself. My hand trembled. The words looked simple, but they carried years. Ethan said quietly, Do you ever want to send it? I shook my head. No, she's gone, but I want her to know I remember her, he nodded. You're the bravest woman I know. For a moment, silence filled the room. Not heavy, just full. I folded the letter and tied it with a thin piece of ribbon. The paper felt soft, almost like skin. Ethan asked, Where will you keep it? In the box under my bed, I said. With my old wedding veil. He looked at me with gentle eyes. Then it's safe, I smiled. Yes, safe, he stood up. The horses need water, he said softly. Come when you're ready. After he left, I opened the window. The wind carried the smell of earth and hay. I watched the fields sway in the sun. I'm not her anymore, I whispered, but she made me who I am. The words felt right. I put the letter away, closed the box, and stood. My reflection in the glass looked peaceful, older, wiser, softer. Ethan's voice came from outside. Lydia, you coming? I'm coming! I called back, my voice clear and sure. As I stepped out, the sun touched my face. I didn't feel the weight anymore. The past was still there, but it no longer owned me. For the first time in years, I didn't cry. I smiled. I pushed the door open and smelled warm bread. The morning sun touched the wooden counter and made it glow. My bakery sign, Clara's Table, hung above the window. I smiled. Samuel walked in, brushing the dust off his coat. You opened early again, he said. I couldn't sleep, I replied, pulling a loaf from the oven. The smell keeps me awake, he laughed softly. Or maybe peace does, I looked at him. Peace? Yes, he said. You finally look like you belong here. I didn't answer right away. I looked at the shelves, rows of golden bread, the pies cooling near the window, the little chairs for customers. I never thought this would be my life, I said. But it feels right. The door swung open, and two small voices filled the room. "Mama Lydia!" the twins shouted, running toward me. I bent down, hugging them tight. Their cheeks were warm, their hands full of coins. "Do you have Mama's bread?" the girl asked. "Always," I said, handing them a loaf. Still warm, they grinned, holding it like treasure. Samuel leaned on the counter. "They come every morning," he said. "You spoil them." "I spoil everyone," I teased. "Even you," he smiled, that soft, quiet smile I'd come to know. "You do." I wiped flour from my hands. "You helped me hang the sign. You should get free bread forever." "I didn't do much," he said. "You built this place with your heart." I looked down. "It was Clara's dream. She wanted a table where everyone could eat together. And you made it real," he said. "You brought home back to us." Those words stayed in my heart. Home. I hadn't felt it in years. Not since the ranch burned. Not since I lost her. I took a deep breath. "Do you think she'd be proud?" Samuel nodded. "I know she would." The twins giggled as they tried to share the bread. Crumbs fell on the floor. I knelt to pick them up, laughing. "That's how you know it's good," I said. "When it doesn't last." Outside, the fields shone gold under the sun. Horses grazed by the fence. The wind carried the smell of baked dough and wild grass. Samuel walked to the window. "You did it, Lydia," he said quietly. "You found peace," I shook my head. "No," I said softly. "Peace found me," he turned. "You sound like a poet now." "Maybe I just learned to listen," I said. "To the oven, to the wind, to the silence." He came closer. "What do you hear now?" I smiled. "Home." We stood there watching the twins chase each other around the tables. Their laughter filled the little bakery. Samuel reached for a loaf. "Mind if I taste this one?" I nodded. "Tell me what you think." He broke a piece, tasted it, and closed his eyes. "It's good," he said. "It tastes like peace," I laughed. "That's the name of my next recipe." "Then you'll need a new sign," he said. I looked up at Clara's table. "No," I whispered. "This one's perfect." For a moment, everything was still. The light, the air, even my heart. I thought about the long nights, the fear, the empty hands. All of it led here, to warmth, to laughter, to love. The twins waved goodbye, crumbs on their lips. "See you tomorrow, Mama Lydia." "Don't forget your coins next time," I called. Samuel chuckled. "You'll never take their money." "Maybe not," I said, smiling. "But they'll keep trying." He looked around the shop. "It feels alive here." "It is," I said. "Every loaf I bake reminds me that life goes on." He placed his hand on the counter. "And you go with it." I nodded. "Yes, I go with it." As he walked out, the bell above the door rang softly. I stood there, hands dusted with flour, heart full. I looked out at the fields one last time that morning and whispered, "Clara, we did it." The wind answered gently through the open window, carrying the smell of bread and peace. The sun was soft that evening, melting into the golden fields. The twins laughed outside, chasing fireflies with small glass jars. Their laughter was light, like bells in the distance. I sat on the porch, my hands folded on my lap, feeling the gentle air touch my skin. Samuel came out with 2 cups of coffee. "They never get tired," he said, smiling. I smiled back. "They remind me of us, when everything still hurt." He sat beside me, his hand brushing mine. "It doesn't hurt anymore, does it?" I looked at the fields glowing in the last light. "Not the same way," I said softly. "It's quieter now." He nodded. "You've changed, Lydia." "I had to," I said. "Pain teaches you how to live when you forget." He sipped his coffee and leaned back. "I remember the night you arrived. You were angry, tired. You said you didn't believe in home." I laughed a little. "And you said I'd find one here." He looked at me with that same quiet strength. "I didn't think I was right." "You were," I said. My voice trembled just a bit. "You all were." The twins ran closer, waving their jars full of fireflies. Their little lights flickered in the dusk, soft and golden. I felt my chest ache, but it was the good kind of ache, the one that makes you thankful. "Look, Mama," Emma shouted. "They shine just for us." I smiled at her. "They shine for everyone who's brave enough to see them." Samuel chuckled. "That sounds like something you'd say in church," I nudged him with my elbow. Maybe I'm learning from you. He shook his head. No, you've always had the light. You just stopped looking at it for a while. I turned toward him, surprised by the warmth in his tone. You really think so? I know so, he said. His voice was low, certain. You saved us, Lydia. You brought life back here. I felt my throat tighten. No, Samuel, I whispered. You found me when I didn't even want to be found. The twins sat on the steps, their jaws glowing like small lanterns. I watched them, the fireflies dancing inside. The night came slowly, wrapping the ranch in calm. I used to think peace meant forgetting, I said. But now I think it's remembering without breaking. Samuel reached out, his fingers brushing mine. And what does home mean now? I looked up at the stars just beginning to appear. Home isn't a place, I said. It's a feeling. It's this, he smiled gently. Then we're home. I nodded, tears stinging my eyes. Yes, finally. The twins started singing softly, a tune they made up about fireflies and summer nights. Their voices drifted into the air, pure and full of life. I closed my eyes, letting the sound carry me. Every scar, every betrayal, every lonely night, they all led me here. I had been broken, yes, but I wasn't lost. I was learning how to belong again. Samuel stood and took my hand. Come on, he said. Let's catch one too, I laughed. I'm too old for that. You're not, he said. Not tonight. We walked into the field, the cool grass brushing against our legs. Fireflies floated everywhere, like stars had fallen close to the earth. I held out my hand and one landed on my finger. Its tiny light pulsed softly, glowing in rhythm with my heartbeat. Samuel leaned close. You see? Even the dark can shine. I looked at him, then at the light. Yes, I whispered. It always could. I just had to stop running. He smiled, and for a long moment we said nothing. The wind carried the sound of the twins' laughter, the rustle of the grass, the whisper of night. I breathed in deeply. The air was full of warmth, full of life. Everything finally made sense. I had not come to escape my past. I had come to understand it. The firefly flew away, joining the others in the sky. I watched until the light disappeared into the night. My heart was still glowing. That was the moment I knew. I was home.